All right, welcome back to looking at concepts and principles. In this case, looking at them within the Christian Kenpo system. Looking at yellow belt technique number 1, attacking mace. Very similar to the American Kenpo technique, attacking maces, is a now attack. We divide the Christian Kenpo and postmodern Kenpo systems up into 2 giant categories. Nows, punches, kicks, knives, clubs, and guns. When-thens, hugs, holds, locks, chokes, and grabs. This is a green clock zone attack. Green is anything from 12 to either 9:30 or 2:30. Yellow is anything from 9:30 and 2:30 down to 4:30 and 7:30 is yellow. And for red is anything between 4:30 and 7:30 behind me. We're going to be looking at, first and foremost, what we call method. Previously called break stance method, but the method, the lower half reduction of friction in our feet and how we set up our body and our stances to respond to this catalyst and intent. So, for the catalyst and intent behind attacking mace or attacking maces is a right step in punch, not a step through. The difference being a step through punch is coming from all the way back from 6. A step in punch can begin with either foot forward and is a point of origin punch. My hands could be down, my hands could be up, and the punch comes from point of origin. Let's look at the method behind this. In this attack, it's coming towards my nose. I need to get out of the way. I'm going to step in with my left foot. First and foremost, I'm going to do what I call the cheat step. I'm going to alter my hip line to give me a better angle into my opponent. I'm going to rotate my hip open. It allows my left foot now to step towards 10:30, 11 o'clock and perform the thrusting inward block. Once again, the method is rotation. I now get to push off of that back foot and close the distance on my opponent while performing the thrusting inward block. Now I'll have Jarek come up and we'll start to walk through the catalyst and intent and the weapons to targets of this technique. As Jarek is going to come from this direction, let's scoot this way, he's going to step in with a right punch and he's going to gauge it to show that if I do not move, his fist will be in my face. I'm going to pre-position. My left foot is going to be forward, pre-position number 2. As he comes in, I'm going to step in because I've pre-positioned and now I'm in a perspective horse to my 7:30, but I'm in a left fighting stance to his 6. I've used that thrusting inward block to rotate him and then finish the technique. Once again, from a different angle, Jarek's going to gauge arm to make sure to smack me in the head, back up. As I pre-position, he steps in. I move the weapon out of the way using a thrusting inward block. Weapons to targets. Here was his catalyst, but what is his intent? His intent is his second arm. And if we back up, Jarek, what would you, if you were stepping in with that punch, what would be your follow-up with your other hand? Across. So go ahead and show us what that would look like. Exactly. Using boxing motions. Most people have access to some type of training, whether it be boxing, kickboxing, or MMA, and that is a predominant defense in which we need to cancel his catalyst to prevent his real intent is that cross. Once again, as he gauge arms and back up, and I pre-position, he steps in. I've crossed his center line. It's canceling. If he wants to try and reach, all I need to do is continue pressure to continue to rotate him and cancel that second arm. The weapons to targets are going to be my right hand from point of origin wherever it may be, is going to strike either his floating ribs or his iliac crest to continue to manipulate his height, width, or depth. Notice his drop in height. I'm going to then grab his arm to continue that rotation as my hand comes up towards me to prevent him from collapsing my arms on myself and causing an unintended consequence. Guess what nice target is open? His mastoid. It also pushes him in the direction of his imaginary third leg. Stay there one moment, sit up a little bit. We have something called a third leg. It's invisible, but is applicable. Most of the time, our third leg is in front of us. And when we step, we're always stepping towards that third leg to regain our balance. In this particular case, because I have now moved Jarek in and down, his third leg is now facing towards about his 10:30 or 11 o'clock. I want to continue that motion for him to fall into his third leg. So as I strike to the mastoid, I'm going to continue to push him in that direction, and he has no choice but to fall or to trip in that direction. That gives me an avenue of escape. I need to go to a zone of sanctuary where I do a double cross out and cover. 1, 2, 3. At a 45-degree angle to my opponent. Once again, he's going to gauge arm, back up. I'm going to pre-position. He steps in. 1. Notice cross his body. I'm going to strike, dropping his height. Grab, pulling across, presenting the target, but also pushing him towards his third leg. Striking to the mastoid, and I'm just going to add a nice little push with palm heel as I cross out and away. We've looked at the catalyst and intent. We've looked at method and how we use our feet to control distance and timing. We've looked at weapons to targets and how they affect our opponent. We've looked at negative body posture, the green zone, and the now attack as our concepts and principles for this. And those are the lessons for this technique. One of the most important things, as I talk about with some of my older students, is the reason why in Christian Kenpo we go into the opponent rather than stepping back as we see in American Kenpo is actually borrowed from a movie. In the movie Hunt for the Red October, we see Sean Connery using the tactic of closing the distance between the projectile, in this case a torpedo, and the submarine to close the distance to cancel it arming itself before it is able to be armed and explode. In the same way, I am going to close the distance to Jarek and prevent him from initializing his intent of that left cross. I hope that you take some of these concepts and principles and apply them to either American Kenpo, Christian Kenpo, Kaji Kenpo, or any other system that you practice. Learn it, understand it, and teach it. Thank you. Bye.